Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Lake to Lake Girls. We are your hosts, Amanda and Tiffany.
Hey, everyone.
Happy 4:30. It's the end of April.
I was like, you said 4:30. I was thinking the time. I'm like, no, it's 6 o'clock.
Just kidding.
It's so nice out. I wish we could actually film outside.
I'm going to talk to Jim about that because
we should look into that because it's just beautiful out.
I would be loving my life if we were outside right now. And actually, we have a special guest in studio. But before we cover that,
Okay.
I do have one quick announcement. I am doing this in this event right now. It's called Live Below the Line.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is I can only spend $1.50 a day on food and drink.
Wow.
And how that works is it's going towards raising awareness about hunger around the world. It's a global event. I mean, you have Hugh Jackman and Ben Affleck and a bunch of huge stars raising lots of money, a lot more than I can. But they're raising a lot of money. I'm actually looking to raise money and non-perishable food items for a local food bank in Ontario County. So Monday through Friday, yesterday till Friday, I am only spending $1.50 every day on food and drink.
That's incredible.
So
how are you doing?
I'm fatigued.
Day 2. Yeah.
I'm fatigued. It's only day 2,
Uh-huh.
but I'm doing okay. I'm getting a lot of feedback on Facebook. A lot of people are giving me helpful hints and tips. Apparently, a thing of ramen is only 20 cents. So that's going to be my dinner tonight.
Yeah, the college student, Going
back to the college realm.
Oh, what's it called? There's a YouTube channel, and I think it's called Broke Eats.
Oh.
And they show you, it's these two guys, they're really funny, and they show you how to make really good cheap food, and they did a ramen episode.
Really?
Yeah, how to, bulk it up.
I can't bulk it up. Every little item,
well, that's true.
counts towards, I have to cost it in.
Yeah. You should check them out.
But yeah, if you want to help support us, you can follow me on Lake to Lake Girls. Follow us on Lake to Lake Girls. Twitter, Tiff Collins 8, or you can go to the radio station I work at as well, K1017 and K1045. All avenues of reaching me and finding out how you can be involved as well. All right, enough about us. We have a very awesome guest in studio with us today. She's going to be starting her own show next week, and we're going to preview that a little bit. And let's welcome Miss Beth Lynch.
Hello.
We're so excited to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It is. I am very excited. I'm very excited about tonight and the show and everything that's going to be going on.
Yes, you're our first guest who hasn't really brought a merchandise
tangible item
per se.
But I may have brought a lot of other things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The cameras should be interesting.
We're so excited. We're intrigued. Amanda is the most intrigued by this anyway because we know each other through the radio station that I work at. But this is Amanda's first time ever kind of coming into contact with someone who can read her and read her aura, people around her.
I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I can explain nervous if you'd like me to. It's actually a very natural emotional response. And that's really what the show will be about, understanding your own emotions and thoughts. And
she'll tell you about color, too, how every color is a feeling, and every person, your color, she'll see around you, your aura kind of thing. She'll tell you how you're feeling.
I have a question.
Pretty well.
Sure,
I have a question. What do you call yourself? A psychic, a clairvoyant,
I call
intuitive?
myself a medium.
Okay.
And I'd like to explain what medium is. A medium is one who mediates between the two realms, the spiritual realm and the physical realm. But actually, we all are mediums. We are all mediating that with ourselves each day, and every choice, every challenge we face, because as a medium or as a mediator, every single person has a part of them that is their true spirit, and every single person has their personality. And that's a lot about what my show is going to be doing, kind of bridging that mystery, because it is a very natural thing. It's going on whether you like it or not. And
it's one of those things.
Yeah. And, I spent a good part of my life, there was a good part of my life being afraid of those emotions that came along with sensing things and knowing things. And I don't necessarily read the details of who you are. And a medium reaches more in a spiritual. And spiritual, I like to break that word down into spiritual reality. Spirituality, spiritual reality. It is a reality. We are pure energy first. A spiritual energy system that is filled and needs to be emotional and express itself creatively. And it's that separation from those two that has caused the conflict, causes it personally, causes it globally. So I'm hoping to bridge that gap with Inner Lately.
And just so everybody knows, throughout the show, I'm going to be checking our Facebook page periodically. So if you have a question for Beth, or if you want to talk to her a little bit, have a question for her, just post it on our Facebook page. It's Lake to Lake Girls. It's easy to find. If you haven't liked us already, please do. And we can send those questions over to Beth, and she'll be able to answer them.
That's a great idea.
Yes, I would love to answer them.
Diligently as possible.
Yeah, welcome questions.
I don't know how it works with reading between computer via person, but hey,
I do phone and Skype readings all the time.
It happens.
Canada, Europe, all over. Mm-hmm.
Now, are there certain aspects that you specialize in, or does it kind of...
She's got great questions. I
Run
like
the
it.
gamut.
She's
Yes.
very
And I love
inquisitive.
the word aspects because it's aspects of consciousness that I am sensitive to. So in other words, if you were to come to me for a reading, and I'm going to kind of be open to what may be revealed to me now for you. How's that? I do sense a grandfather around you. So I don't know if you've lost your or crossed over grandfather. Yeah, we don't say lost. They're not lost. Oh no, look, see, she's getting emotional.
She's gonna cry.
That's okay. That's a
Do
very...
your clients cry a lot?
Yes, some of them walk in the
My God,
room
this is
that I work
embarrassing.
in and they basically burst into tears. But this is a very natural emotion, and this is the same emotion why some people run from it, because it's like, oh no. But we're thinking, feeling beings. I love her.
Isn't she cute?
We're going to hug after. We got too much stuff in between us. But yeah, it's actually very natural, and that's because you're sensing the vibration of him and the love. And when I read as a medium, it is truly meant to be a spiritual, sacred experience, one to help you for your highest good. And you know what the Spirit World has taught me over the years is the greatest gift you're going to give yourself and the children in your world is to understand love of self and eternal life. And it's the eternal life that I reach when I'm channeling loved ones. They're just pure energy now, and the only reason they should come is because of love or higher understanding. So, and the name Jack's in the room, so I don't know if we have a Jack in spirit first. Could be a listener's, but this could be a big audience, but the name Jack's around me.
Jack, if you are a listener, and
Yeah, let us know.
Well, I'm thinking
Yeah.
Jack's from up there, but we'll see what goes on with that as we go along. You never know. We could have a caller call. You're right. Maybe someone's going to call in and say, I'm listening, and my grandfather is Jack, or my father, or, God forbid, there's so many titles. But, it is meant to help people, and it's just about love, and that's why they come through, and that's why I do it. So as a medium, yes, that is. But I also teach people how to understand it and do, inner awareness programs so people can tap that part of themselves, because that's where your creativity is. That's where your true self-expression is. That's how you're going to pick your partner and your partnerships, and, so it's so important.
it is. I agree with you. Now, tell us a little bit about the guests that you're going to be coming on.
Oh, I got such neat... when you're really, I humbly say, being in tune with yourself, it is such a blessing, and it is really supposed to be a natural thing, because you start, the ideas that came when this kind of came about were just, it was like people started falling on my lap, like who I could have on the show, and I know I can have them call in or be here in person. And so, one of the guests coming up June 4th is a gentleman. He will be calling in. He's 21 years old. He's traveled the world. He basically, kind of like when you were saying about the $20, he basically did something like that, only went on an airplane and got off in Guatemala.
That's
literally.
incredible.
Oh,
And
wow.
I mean, literally. His book is called Into the Wind. His name is Jake Ducey. And Google him, and he's going to be calling in,
That's
talking
incredible.
about inspiration of things he experienced. He's 21 years old, and he writes in the book, in all of his honesty, of, being a kind of, maybe... He's not going to take away from partying. People party. But, being it where it's probably maybe a daily lifestyle. It's all he was doing, kind of thing. So I'm reading the book now, and I'm learning a lot more about him. But he's phenomenal. We actually had a conversation, and I did a little reading for him the other night. And it was very I was humbled by the experience we had. And so, it's just beautiful. But he's going to be on June 4th. Calling in, and he'll take questions. So, that age group of anywhere from, I say 12, 13 and up really will find him interesting. And I hope my show, because I'm going to have some tattoo artists come on and talk about when you get inspired to get a tattoo, how it can help you, in that inner strength, and also heal the loss of loved ones. A musician, I'm putting out some little Facebook messages to some well-known area musicians, and hopefully they'll come and talk about music and creativity and how their music helps them heal and get in tune with what they need. And who else? Just local, local people. And I welcome anyone who wants to come on to email me or you, and let's get you on. Let's talk about what you're doing for your community, your causes, your events. I like the show to have a shout-out time where we're going to shout out to local things, or, even, people do things for people who are struggling maybe with, a challenge or an illness, and you're having these benefits, these spaghetti dinners, these whatever. Mm-hmm. If they email it, I'll shout it out. Every show I want to be, dedicated to that. So
again, we're talking with Beth Lynch. She is a medium and helps read people, helps people in like a guiding way, I guess you could say. Yeah. What are we calling your show? It's
called Inner Lately, and it's, does anyone watch Chelsea?
I like that. I was just going to say that.
Chelsea Lately.
Yeah.
Worth. I
like
it.
That's where it all came about. I was telling my son I was going to do this show, and I said, inner, and he goes, Inner Lately, Mom, like Chelsea. You're funny. You're funny, Mom. You'll make people laugh. I said, I think that gave me butterflies. So I said, that's what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. It's going to be Inner Lately.
And can you tell us a little bit how you came into this? I mean, obviously you knew you had a gift of reading people and being able to sense things, but what made you pursue this career field and making it a career and helping people?
That was that. I was a hairdresser when this all was really taking form for me. But, reverse down to like 5 years old, young girl, teen, being overwhelmed by emotions. You know how your little response was a little bit ago? And so when I always thought that was a weakness for so long. And then, fast forward into years of suppressing and not wanting to deal with it, but always knowing, something or
was
thinking
different
about someone, and, then they'd call me. So, it was a joke for a lot of my life. It was suppressed for a lot of my life. But then when my dad crossed over, for about a week I kept feeling death, and I really didn't understand what that meant, but I knew that's what I felt. So I was going to go talk to somebody about it on Monday. I was going to make some phone calls, and then I was saying this to a friend on Saturday night, and then on Monday morning he passed away. And I remember my friend saying, do you get those feelings anymore? And I went, what feelings? I'd forgotten. And she said about dying, because I thought I was getting a knowing or something.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God. So that was that. And then when my mother, she was on the Amtrak in Alabama when it crashed, and she was one of the 47 that did pass. And that night at 3:15 a.m., I was dreaming, and I heard over an intercom system that she was dead, literally that bluntly. Your Mrs. Ferrano is dead. And I remember screaming in the dream, and I woke up, and I was literally crying and sweating, and I could tell I was very upset. And I went, oh, what a dream that was. And I woke up in the morning at 7 a.m. and went to bring my nephew to school and turned on the car radio, and it was on the news that the train crashed, and I was like, this isn't good. No, this isn't good. And so, but what that is because we're so vibrationally connected to people we love and care for, we have an inner knowing. And no, nobody wants to go around knowing when people are going to cross, but honestly, I don't get that anymore. That was very personal for me. But I have many people who share stories that I dreamt about my grandfather, and he told me he was going to go away, but it was going to be okay, and I woke up, and then my mother called me and said, Grandpa died, and I hear things like that all the time because he did come. They want us to be almost prepared.
Now you say everybody is kind of a medium in their own way.
Everybody is experiencing this.
How do they differentiate between what is real and what is a dream? Because I know I have dreams all the time of like a fear that I have, but it's not necessarily something that came true. It's just something that I'm scared of, like losing a family member. I'm petrified of losing certain people. But
maybe the universe planted me on this couch for you, Miss Kat. You and many other people who are afraid of losing loved ones. And, I don't like to feel desensitized by it, and I know I'm not, but even what I was just saying, that the greatest gift we give ourselves and children will be understanding eternal life. And that power is, we are wired for that, because this is not the end. We continue whatever it is over there too, but we are human first, and we are physical, so that fear can be the fear comes based upon them not being with us anymore. But when you understand the power of a spirit being with you and still being with you, that's a life force through you. That's a thread of energy that will always be supported because you've accepted it, and now it helps you in the healing process. And yeah, it doesn't feel good to go through. You know, I've been on the other side of that seat. When I went to a medium a year after my mom passed, me and my sister, she literally looked right at me and said, you know, to us, your mother's in the spirit world, and she looked at me and said, you're not using your gifts, young lady, and someday you will. And I felt she was nuts. And I was there to talk to my mother, and I did not want to hear what I was supposed to be doing with my life at the moment. I was just fine. And, yeah, but, you know, I left that session knowing my mother was in that room, and I could feel her. And I cried a lot, and I left going, and she said she'll guide you to your books and teachers. And I didn't quite know what to do with the information at the time, but I started picking up different books and going into what we call one of those metaphysical stores where they sell candles and incense and oils. And I found a newsletter that had this class with this woman, and I felt drawn, so I went. And she, you know, clearly introduced me into understanding energy and spirituality. And it just was one book, one teacher after the next, because I accepted it. I was intuitively led to it, just like feeling this, just like you're doing what you love and touching so many people, you know?
Definitely. And have you ever I know you said you felt a little overwhelmed before you really accepted and understood your gift, but afterwards, do you ever feel overwhelmed by all the feelings that all the emotions?
No, not anymore. They become, because it is really naturally who we are, that natural energy just takes over. And, you know, every day I am a big advocate for meditation, because when you meditate, you're basically mediating, again, between who you are as a spiritual, creative being and who you are as a human being. And when those two are working together, that's when you get this follow. You know what to follow. You know what not to. You know who to date. You know who not to. You don't search outside of yourself for that fulfillment and love, because it's there. But then all that you draw to you is that as well.
Now, would you say that the people who decide to date the wrong people are suppressing that feeling?
Oh, they probably are.
You know, sorry to interrupt, but I have found, like, in past relationships where you know it's wrong. You know, you might not admit it, but
I agree.
You're saying it. You know.
You know.
Most people already know.
You have that feeling that something's off.
By the third week, you truly know.
Yeah.
And if you're going to choose to keep going, you're probably going to hit the third month. And if you're going to hit the third month, you're probably going to hit the sixth month. And before you know it, you're 2 years in, and now you're wondering what you've done. But you know what? Every relationship, we'll have to have a show on that. You know, every relationship, you have an opportunity to learn about who you are in the experience, not by the person. Step back and know every relationship is created by what you think and feel and what the other person thinks and feels. And some of those things you're not privileged to know. Everyone has their own personal. But if you're looking to be loved, then you're going to draw someone looking to be loved. And guess what? You're gonna look at each other to fulfill that void, and it's too much pressure on anyone. It really is. So you find your energy balance with people, your emotional balance. You have to breathe in your relationships. If you have to wonder, take a step back.
Now, what is the concept on this whole thing with love at first sight kind of thing?
That's serious energy going on. You know, we are magnetic beings, and that's another thing I want with Inner lately. I want people to understand and hopefully help them understand. As a spiritual energy being, you are magnetic. What you think, what you feel, creates the condition of your relationships and what's going to happen in your life. So when you have that magnetic feel with someone, that pull, that instant love, it's a strong force of nature, and it's meant to be experienced. But when you get into it, and you have to then, your personality starts showing. So you have to use sometimes common sense and intuition. It really is the same thing. You know sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you
Definitely.
have that, yes, it's a soulmate. Yes, we have more than one soulmate. Yes, it's something so powerful beyond your body shakes. You know what I mean? Your heart you're so drawn. But that's all. There's lower vibrational desire and there's higher vibrational desire.
I've never heard that before.
Ooh, yeah.
That makes sense.
But everything's frequency. And our lower vibrational desires are going to draw us more connectedly to it physically, whether it be, the physical attraction, the monetary, what you can get from it. And those people don't mean anything bad by being attracted to that way, because it is part of, you have to have this mutual ground. But then your love has to grow into a divine expression. And the humans have a hard time allowing themselves to have such freedom in their relationships.
Agreed.
Because in humanness, you're worried about losing them. Money. Money is energy.
On the money.
Money is energy. Guess what? Money is energy. What you think about it, what you feel about it, will equal how it is in your life. If you're afraid of it, worried about it, mad at it, never enough of it, it ain't hanging around you. Would you hang around someone like that? No. So start loving the relationship. Put a pair of pants on it, put a dress on it, and get along with it, okay? Because it's going to show you. It will be there.
Now, I know there's a lot of people who know who you are. Again, we're joined with Beth Lynch. She's a medium. She's going to be starting a new show, Inner Lately, like Chelsea Lately, next Tuesday, 7:30. Now, for those of our viewers who don't know, you have a business in Geneva. It's a kind of a conglomerate. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yes, Inner You. Inner You, we are up on Preemption Road, 590 Preemption. And
in Geneva.
It is, in Geneva. And it's myself and Megan Weston and Bernadette Murphy. Bernadette does acupuncture and massage, and she was actually in this area for a long time. And now we are all under the same roof. And Megan does skincare. And Megan has done skincare at Derma Technologies, and then a couple other places she's been. But now, it was time to go out on our own. And basically, we're all three women who were in our industries for probably a decade and just decided to go under the same roof. And in an interesting way, it would be a great story if we do have time for it, how that came about.
Oh, go right ahead, yeah.
We got a couple minutes? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Make a long story kind of short. Megan has done my skin for almost 9 years. So we would do our little trade. I'd do her reading. She'd do my facial, And we would try to do that every couple months. And then, I knew she was very happy in her last place of work. And so that's, she was really happy there. And then she came to me. We hadn't seen each other for a couple months. And it seemed as though things had changed around the work arena. And I said, look, there's going to be changes, and I don't see you there in June. And I don't say that I really make strong visions of that. If it comes, I get it. I don't look for what your future is. But I could see that there was a change. And she got very emotional and was a little upset that she thought, she'd be there forever. And she was happy, but things have changed. And I said, just start, whenever you get worried about it or don't know where you're going next, just put out divine possibilities. That's a mantra. Divine is a high-frequency word which raises the vibration of anything you need, anything you feel you're lacking. Use that word in front of it. Take a few deep breaths. Put it out. So she took divine possibilities. As I said, here it is March, and I don't see you there in June. Something's coming
I
quick.
had to say, that's
real quick
it's a couple
turnaround.
of months,
Especially when you have clientele and you have commitments, and she's a very committed worker. I know she wasn't looking forward to what would have to take place with that. Now, me, on the other hand, I was right up the road from where where I was working. I'm right up from the road from where I was. But at the time, I wasn't locked into a lease. I was renting a small office. So I was fine where I was. I was just going to be, I'm good. I was good. And so basically, a few days later, I was getting my facial. So I had to go back and see her. And we were doing it at her house. And she goes, okay. And she's rubbing away. And she says, now remember, I've been doing my divine possibilities. I've been so good. You'd be so proud of me, and I feel so much better. I go, yeah, I can feel it. I go, something will come. Don't you worry. She goes, oh, I think I know already. I go, really?
Wow.
And she goes, she's rubbing away on my face. Now, just hear me out, she said. I think you're in my possibility.
I love that she brought
that
that
up.
Yeah.
In your possibility. Beep. I am not in that possibility. I'm very happy where I am. And she goes, oh, no, you just got to listen. And as she started talking, I had a flash of Up the Road. And I go, you beep. I think I am in your possibility. I just saw where we're going. And that's clearly what happened. And
Wow.
2 days later, we were walking in to this place, and we checked out one, and then it ended up being that we were right next door. And we went in, and totally none of us were prepared financially, I think, to make this move. But we were blessed that we had someone who, when we told him what we wanted to do and what our dream was and that we could make it happen, but we just needed to get in.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't know what's happening here, but I feel like I'm just going to, let's go with it. You know what I mean? And he made it happen too, our landlord. So, we were so divinely led, and we knew it. May 1st, me and her were in there.
Wow.
And June 1st, our Bernadette joined us. Yeah. And that's how fast. And it wasn't stressful. And, there's a lot to doing a business,
Yes.
And
Yes, of course.
we all would say, when is it going to hit? When is we going to, get this big boom in front of us? No. And I go, you guys, it really is meant to be. So that's where we are. We're at Interview. We have a lot of monthly events, monthly specials. Check us out on Facebook, Interview, Interview, it's out there. Website, join the email list,
And you
get
also
our
have mantras
specials.
on your email as well. On your website, you have the mantra. You have your oh goodness, I can't come up with a word right now. It's the fatigue, food.
Oh no.
The affirmations?
Meditations. I'm sorry.
Oh,
meditations.
yes. My website is innerlightteaching.com, and I have a whole meditation corner that you can actually download one that's a great daily picker-upper, or even, just you need that picker-upper in the middle of the day. It's about 8 minutes long. I have ones for relaxation on there. I have ones to read. And just taking 2-3 minutes to do a little meditation can really change so much in your nervous system. Nobody should have anxiety. Anybody get anxiety here?
Oh yeah.
All right, now, all right, you hear it? Everybody hear? I always say, how come everybody says that like it's okay? It's not okay. And by the time I get done with you girls, there will be no anxiety in this office. So,
Nice.
Yeah. Good for that. Yeah. No, they're really, it's not, it doesn't have to, anxiety is suppressed thoughts and every thought has emotional frequencies connected to it. So after repeating them, these frequencies they're lower, so they need to get out of the body. And what an anxiety attack is when these frequencies are trying to raise through the subconscious conscious, which, getting back to your dream thing, because I don't think we finished that completely. I'm known to go off topic, so I
No,
apologize.
you're fine.
And but yeah, so that's what that is. So immediately go into some breathing. Maybe that could be a little tip for any listeners. Just start doing the breathing. I love the 4-6 count, meaning inhale 4, exhale 6, nice and slow through the nostrils if you can. There's something about stimulating behind the eyes. It's very calming. And then do a 6-8 count. Do maybe 4-6, 4-6, 4-6, 6-8. By then, you have sent the signal to the nervous system that you're in charge. She's doing it. Tiff's doing it. Look at her. I love it.
She had me do it in the radio station.
Yeah.
It works really well.
It does. I do it every day. I don't start my day without it. I love it. Everybody's breathing. I love this. And, when you become aware of breath awareness like that, you become aware of how much you hold your breath. And it's pretty shocking, because the lower belly is the key. When you're tight or when you're tense, bring your awareness down there once in a while, especially when you're going to do affirmations, because once that's relaxed, that means you've reached the frequency physically. Your body has joined in. Your cells resonate to this. There's plenty of stories and proof out there, and studies about how the body and the cells resonate to high frequency thoughts and feelings. And those are the things I hope to bring. And even with Inner Lately, there is humor in spirituality.
Oh, yeah.
We can't be afraid to laugh at ourselves and laugh at the silliness of who we really are. We're really beautiful, expressive beings, but there's two parts of us, and our spirit holds that creativity and that confidence and that love of being here, because there is enough going on. And I want to address those global issues and things that come up, on the news, a little, thing like that, because, people wonder why. And I think, and I know that I don't ask why too much anymore. And when you put out why, you will get your answers, or you'll get them, but sometimes you want to judge what you're getting. And I don't judge what I get when I put something out. I really have always trusted it. My curiosity really has kept it. I was just always curious about both sides, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that curiosity's gotten me here, so.
And it's done well for you.
Yeah.
Now, something that you said when you came in, now you're really very good at picking up. You said something about my career.
Yeah.
I
And
said,
it was
something about living the dream.
Living your dream.
Living
Yeah.
my dream. I was spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. I'm hopefully going to pursue something in television, but you know, I still have time. I'm still a baby. I have goals and ambitions, but I mean, it's incredible how all you have to do is walk into a room and then you catch that on somebody, and you can feel that off of somebody, and how much they just. I don't even know how to wave it out. I don't even know how to do
because
that.
you're using the right words. It's all frequency and it's all vibration. So when I walk into a room, I feel a vibration. And I could feel it immediately when I walked in here. It was like, oh my gosh, and look at the purple behind you.
Yeah.
That's the divine eye.
love
Oh
the
my God,
purple.
is that my backdrop too?
It can be.
It's got to be. It's purple. And that's the third eye, and that's where we see higher perception and truth in all things we're going through. And that's what we want to see, that perception.
Do you have any particular questions? Because I can keep going.
Yeah. What do you want to throw at me?
Because I know that you're the newbie in this whole
Throw 'em at me.
scenario.
I know.
I've experienced it a little bit. Is there anything else that you can pick off of Amanda
Yes.
right now?
You said you can read auras or like
Color?
Well,
colors or like I
don't see auras like some people see them, but I get a sense and a feeling of color more than see.
Okay.
And yet other things I see, like when I start seeing the spirit world, I start really seeing things. You know what I mean? People smiling at me, holding things, and those are the things they want me to say, to show you, look, it's them. But for some reason, I'm seeing a lot of yellow. Like yellow roses or daffodils. Yeah, daffodils around you. Now, I don't know what daffodils mean, but all I know what yellow means, and that's power. That's the power center. And we have 7 sacred centers, and the yellow is the center torso. And when that is either underactive or overactive, it shows, sometimes but I don't want to say that you're underactive or overactive because I'm seeing it with a really beautiful metaphor, which is can we Google daffodils and what they mean? Let's see what they mean. Because everything has symbolism. And that's really it's not about me reading you literally, because I don't read literally. I read symbolically from a soul level. And that's what a medium does. But I do see it. And I just feel this person gardening. And, I mean, who's that around you? Because they're very strong.
be my mom.
Oh, my gosh. She's in spirit, honey?
No.
Oh, God, good. I don't want to put anybody over there.
But she's like, no. She's an extremely spiritual person, though.
All right, and gardening, and she's
She would
very
love
connected
this.
to the
She
earth.
would love
Yeah,
this.
she has to come on, or maybe even tweet in or Facebook some questions.
She doesn't know how to Facebook.
Huh?
She doesn't know how to Facebook.
All right,
but-
well, she can come in.
or my grandma.
Is your grandma in spirit?
Oh, my grandparents are.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure this is her parents then, because that would be them showing me her. All right. That when they start speaking or showing me visions, they're going to either talk about themselves, you, or someone very mutual between you. And a grandparent would bring that in, because I was seeing the flowers and I'm seeing the gardening and the woman down on. Now, whether your grandparents did that too or not, I don't know. Sometimes they're going to mention it about themselves, but sometimes it's more about the person that's mutual between you. And there's a lot of love there. And did one of them put something away for you so you could have like later in like college or something, like financial? Was something put away? Maybe you don't know about it yet. Hope they didn't blow anything out of the water here.
No, not that I know of.
All right. Are you worried about something like that, or nothing was? That's coming in for a reason.
Well, I do have a lot of student loans.
All right, listen, don't worry about it. What you do when you think about those loans, because you must be thinking about them, and that's what I'm picking up on. That can become a stressor, all right?
Oh, yeah.
What you do is you take that and use this little sacred shelf. I love my little sacred shelf. It was shown to me once in a reading for someone years ago. And you just take the thoughts of all those student loans and get a file for them and put divine order and divine prosperity, maybe. Divine order is very easy, though. Keep that one going for sure. And just put them in there. That's so you're going to regulate. Because sometimes what can happen is, first of all, you're going to be regulating that emotional response to you have to knowing that you're carrying all that. Well, right there, it's like putting a sinkhole into your future. That's what I feel it's doing to you. That no matter how ahead you get, you're always going to be behind. And one thing about Amanda, that's your name, right?
Yes.
I'm really bad with names. I'm the first to admit it. And is, you got to remember, I'm dealing with two worlds, so there's a lot of names that float around me. And is that you are really the most perfect example of how emotional it can be to understand these truths. But there's a place for them. And you're going to be putting them aside, and you're going to watch and see how things start happening. Divine order for those loans. It's not going to be a worry as of this day anymore. You've got to use the mantra, that I can't do for you unless you can, You
want to hear something funny? You want to know what daffodil means?
All right.
Oh, here we go.
It means that it's a lucky emblem of future prosperity.
Ooh.
Amen.
I like that. I like that.
It's found throughout the world. It also means faith, honesty, truth, forgiveness, and forthrightness. They're ever vigilant and returning at spring, and it's a sign of end of the winter and the coming of new things. And
I like that.
Give daffodils to someone as a token of forgiveness. And that's the last thing.
Okay, that's a reoccurring word. Is there something in you where you need to forgive or need forgiveness? Or just need to forgive yourself?
I can't think of anything. I don't know.
Usually
might be something underlying.
What?
Might be something underlying. We might have.
I like that whole prosperity theme, though.
Yeah. Well, I want you to
about that.
And I want you to embrace the, use the mantra. All divine possibilities to create my abundance from my heart. I embrace all divine possibilities to create the abundance from my heart. And every morning, sit and meditate on that. And meditate means to just think it or say it. Breathe. Look out a window. Often when I do my affirmations first thing in the morning is I wake up, look out my window, take a few deep breaths, and now it's looking very pretty out there these days, and just put it out there. And until the lower belly is relaxed, I don't stop, because that means I've raised the frequency enough around me that I am now, the law of attraction is in motion, and that vibration. You get it? Law of attraction. We'll do a lot of talking about that.
All right.
We're doing a lot of talk about that on your show, which comes up next week. It starts at 7:30. It's called Inner Lately. A little bit. I like that.
I like that. That has
such
a
genius.
good. Yeah, it has such a good ring to it.
Inner lately. Been there lately? Inner? We're going in. We're going in.
Yeah.
And, to see it as humorous and natural and really, raw maybe even. Let's not be afraid to say the word love and God and universe and energy. Let's not be afraid of these words that are very naturally, are in our fabric. And whatever your belief is, Buddha, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Now, what do you say to nepotism or naysayers, people who don't necessarily believe?
Well, last night I had a very powerful experience with a group that came. It was a family of 9 or 10, and there were two gentlemen, and I do a lot of readings for gentlemen now. And when I first started in this career choice, passion, whatever mission, there was never men. You'd never get men, and now. Weekly, and referred to either by their wife or their sister or their mom, brothers, all titles, and it's just amazing. In all ages, a lot of 18 to 28-year-old guys coming for meditation to deal with anxiety.
Do you see any PTSD people coming in?
Not is that more of a
post-traumatic stress disorder? So
there are some. There are probably. I wouldn't say I know that that's what it is, because there's I don't say that that's what I treat, but I do teach people how to deal with the frequency. That's a frequency, post-traumatic stress. When you have that, you were talking about your dreams, and I think the best way to explain that is when you're dreaming of something like that, or going through an anxiety attack of something of that triggers it, that magnitude that it is. There's a frequency to that. So immediately, through your true spirit, you have a power to raise vibration, all right? That will help. It can't hurt. I mean, I know that there's certain areas I do respect, professionalisms of other, whether it be a doctor or a therapist too, But we all working together is where people would really heal. And I think that PTSD
sounds like
thing could be, I really feel we could be almost like free of that.
So much more holistic approach is what I hear you saying.
It's the part that's missing a lot. Your spirit is what's connected, is your energy. And your energy and your spiritual energy is fueling your physical energy. And so when you separate from that, whether you want to ignore it, think it's not real, think it's evil, you're really just denying yourself a pure part of wholeness and true peace of mind and the power to create the life you really deserve.
Now, the people who don't have some kind of skepticism, do they put up a block? Is there's like some kind of a block that keeps you from?
Was a good example. In case they're listening, it was a very powerful night for me. There were 2 men and 8 or 7 women. And they came to reach Mom, Dad, and pretty much some family members, and they were all. That's what they were all there to reach the same one. And the one gentleman sitting next to me wouldn't make eye contact with me. I had his number right away. I was like, he's very nervous, so I don't get worried about. The only thing they block is their own true understanding, or their own the emotion that they're going to feel between their parents. His parents were there, and whoever. And so finally, after about 15 minutes, I had to say, look. And I said, there's a guy, Paul, here. First name I said, and everybody said no about Paul. And I said, okay, well, you know what? I go, by the time of the end of this session, we're all going to know who Paul is. So don't worry about him right now. And then a few other names came in. Nobody knew. And then all of a sudden I looked at this one guy and his wife, Mary. She was amazing. She just was rolling, and he let her talk. I mean, he knew everything she was saying. And, and then we were going around the room and it was all over the place. And then this guy still wouldn't make eye contact with me. And I even said to him, I said, your father has his hand on his shoulder. He's handing you something, his fishing equipment. You have his fishing line, or you have his fishing something. You have it. It's not just, hey, we fish together. A lot of fishing goes on in these conversations. He knew this man, and then his wife hit him and said, well, you have your dad's fishing boxes, and and he's like, well, everybody has their dad's. I go, my dad didn't fish. I don't have any of his, And I said, look, you're only denying yourself a beautiful feeling. That's all I had to say. And honestly, his father put his hand on his shoulder. He gave him a little phrase. He said a little something to him. And, the guy got very emotional. And the rest was easy. It's just, you block. You block your own beautiful experience. Though you're not hurt me. I'm going to receive it anyway. I tell people often, I'm not here to prove it to you. This is sacred to me, too. And it's very special for them to be here for you. They trust me enough, so I trust that they're going to give you what you need. But I can't help if you don't think that that's what you need. Let me create the sacred space for you, and the rest will happen.
So do we have anyone here with us now?
Besides your grandparents.
Besides them.
Yeah. Well, they hear you, so let's see if they make their presence known. I'll tell you, the name, 2 names are coming in. Ted. The name Teddy is coming in. I hear that name very strongly. And I see a German Shepherd dog. Anybody have a German Shepherd
dog?
I don't think any of us had. No. I've grown up with dogs, but not German Shepherds.
There's a Shepherd in there.
I know. We had a Husky.
Oh, well, think about what they look like.
They're pretty similar.
Yeah, they're very
The color
close.
is different,
yeah. But they got that woofy kind of...
The wolf look,
that's probably the dog we got. Maybe I'll get the name. The name Bobby too is in the room. Bobby, something. But who, I don't know. I'm just
throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Now, can you feel from outside of this room? Can there be other presence here, just that you bring in yourself?
Oh, probably the building. Oh, you mean me?
Well, that and like the building as well.
Yeah, the building I could pick up on, or we could have somebody in the office who had an Uncle Ted or something we don't even know.
Yeah.
Usually a lot of times people will ask me, will send me things.
Teddy. I do have a second cousin named Teddy.
Is he in the spirit world?
No, he's a lot younger than me.
All right.
I was trying
that
to think
could
of
be
anyone.
somebody talking about him then. When they do, especially that's not a very common name. But like the other night I had a woman, well, this was a few weeks ago, I was reading her, and her dad in the spirit world, we were channeling, and he kept showing me Tootsie Rolls, and he would undo the wrapper, and Tootsie Pops and Tootsie Rolls. And she goes, well, he liked candy, and I like candy. I said, no. This is not just candy. He's saying Tootsie Rolls, Tootsie Pops,
For a
Tootsie
reason.
Rolls, Tootsie Pops. And it must have been 5 minutes. That's a long time when you're channeling to talk. I go, let's just leave the Tootsie Pops. It's not the candy. I mean, it's candy, but it's not what he's trying to get across. There's something. I go, sometimes if we let it go, it comes back. And I said, it may take you a couple of days. She ended up calling me a few days later because she wanted to book an appointment to do a private meditation with me. And she says, I don't know how I couldn't have known this, but Tootsie was my nickname from my father.
Oh,
no. And I'm like,
Those things
I
you forget.
because it's emotion, and you will let it go right over your head sometimes, you know. And it's not unnatural. I think that's a natural thing, but for the most part, they know what to bring. They know what to bring. They really do.
Bobby.
Robert.
Bobby, I think, I can't be certain, but my family had, my dad had a brother who passed away very young.
You think his name was Robert?
I think his name was Bobby or something like that.
Be interesting to find out.
I'll have to ask my dad.
Show.
Because my dad was very young on that. I can let you know next week.
Yeah,
if
and
that's
there's no
it.
time in spirit. So they don't care. Like the name Paul ended up being one of the women's first boyfriends who did cross over.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
after I said it like 3 times throughout it was about an hour and a half session. I said, that Paul's back. And then I said, and then she goes, oh my God, I had my boyfriend was Paul and he crossed over. We used, and because I said the movie theater, and she goes, oh my God, Paul, we used to go to that. And I said, there's an old movie theater. Somebody's saying the old movie theater. And that made her think of him. And then she realized he did pass away. And she had heard about it. And, she was probably well in her 60s. So this was a while ago. She's sitting around, running around thinking about Paul with her husband sitting right next to her. Beside, So everyone laughed. And then later I felt the name Paul again. I said, this ain't the same Paul because they don't need to bring their name twice. And this one lady goes, oh, my God, Paul something, said the last name. And everyone went, oh, my God, how could we not think of that? So you don't always think about who's the one you think should be here, And they're
That's very
listening. I'm
true.
sure we've got a room full, but-
It's always random, isn't it? Sometimes it's somebody you might not expect to be there.
Yeah, I was walking in Wegmans, and I was having one of those Long Island medium moments, I guess. But when I was just walking, and I heard olive loaf in my ear. Real loud, real husky voice. And I went, oh, really? Here I am walking in my cart down the deli aisle, olive loaf. And I'm like, so now I start looking to see who I know in the aisle, right? Because I'm thinking, somebody wants, tell her olive loaf. Tell her to buy olive loaf. I'm like, oh, my God. So I'm like, okay, but I got to know somebody. I'm gonna yell it out. 20 people standing there. So this one girl I knew, and I knew her father was in spirit. And I went, oh my God. And I go, okay, I'm just going to say this. I am just the messenger. Buy olive loaf. She goes, I hate olive loaf. How do you know that? I go, because your father is obviously he used to make me buy his olive loaf. He knows I hate olive loaf. And I go, I'm just doing my job, I guess. How do you do that? I don't even believe in this stuff. And I go, I guess you're going to now, aren't you? And she had a laugh. How could you not?
Yeah, that's incredible.
That was one of those moments. I don't have those all the time. You'd be crazy. But, I meditate every day to bless the ability, and then I basically give permission for it to happen. And it hasn't stopped in 20 years, 18 years maybe, on purpose.
Now, is that something that you could say to other people who may be neglecting to accept their feelings about that kind of thing? Just you have to accept it into your life just to
accept eternal life. I mean, goodness sake, our friend Jesus taught that like 2,000-something years ago, I mean, some people may not like that I say that, but it's very true. It was taught, it's the most traditional teaching there is, that there is eternal life, there is a soul. And all you have to do is embrace it, and the rest is magic. Honestly, and you want to honor your soul every day, and it's a relationship. My book Journey to Light I wrote to help people understand the relationship between who they are as a spiritual and a human being. We got to be both. Why not? There's no separation, and it's the separation that causes conflict, and within you personally, community, globally. So your generation is very important because you guys are changing, I think, the way it's going to be. Your curiosity for wanting this, understanding who you are, I think emotionally you guys your generation seems to have, even at a younger age, become more serious about your goals, you know, about the community and being green and wanting to raise money and, you know, and being expressive and, you know, you're reaching magnitudes of talent, even just looking at TV shows, you know, at younger ages. You ever hear the young stars, what they'll say? Every day I was in my room.
Yeah.
And I said I was going to be a star. Well, they put it out there, and magnetically they got it.
I think of Taylor Swift when you say that, because if you know her story.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since she was a little kid, single-mindedly knew she wanted to be a singer.
Yeah. And a lot of them, stars, will say those words when you watch their little bios. And I'm always intrigued by it because it's like, they knew it. And they energized it. And they nurtured it. And they did what it took. And opportunities came. And that's the possibilities that are there.
I love that because I'm a firm believer, like, if you put it out there or, like, project it, like, you know, it'll come back.
See, that's naturally, you already know. That's the law of attraction. What you think, what you feel equals the conditions of what you're in and what you're going to create for yourself. Tomorrow is your future. All divine possibilities. Everyone should just take that with them today. I just embrace all divine possibilities. Don't embrace just possibilities because there's a lot of possibilities out there. But you want to embrace divine possibilities. Divine is a beautiful word of high vibration. You could say highest possibilities if you're not comfortable. I teach a class where I teach about, you know, the word divine is used in it a lot through affirmation work. And this lady in the first 5 minutes of the class goes, well, I don't like the word divine much. And I went, oh, well, there's the door. Yeah. About 8 hours of hearing it, girlfriend. Yeah.
Do you realize where you are?
Kind of what I said to her. And I said, but in all respect, I said, I can change it to highest if you really need. And then, you know, she really went through major changes in her life in the first 3 months after that class. She left a very abusive relationship. She started really living a dream. She ended up meeting someone that really treated her respectfully, and she was truly in love. And and by the end of the class, she was saying divine, you know?
Wow.
And that was an 8-hour program.
Now, do you talk to people about their love lives? Is that
Yeah, I mean, because first loving who you are, because then you draw who you are. You know, you can have all the love. And, you know, who you're going to draw magnetically is who you are. So you got to look in the mirror and be honest with loving who you are.
I think that's so interesting.
Yeah, that's the question she asked about that electronic magnetic feeling. You know, the people, you don't have that about everybody. But that also doesn't mean that you're going to grow old with that person physically, because who knows, have they moved through their things? You know, how many suitcases is somebody walking in with? It's a good way to, you know, there's nothing wrong. And I'm not talking about someone already having children from another relationship. That's not a suitcase to me. You know what I mean? I'm talking about their hang-ups and their
emotional
things. Yeah, don't let them get off the couch and express their light and their truth. Creative, expressive energy. And the minute I walked in, that's what I felt. Like, you're behind that thing, and it's like, she is creating, expressing who she is, and you're in charge, and you're a leader.
I have...
you cannot be suppressed.
I took it a few months ago. Amanda knows this, that I took my life into my own hands, changing a lot of stuff. I mean, her and I are, obviously she does 5Ks and she does all these different amazing events, and a lot of them are for charity. I'm doing this thing for charity. I'm making myself happy on the work end, on the personal end, and on the physical end, and how I feel. A little fatigued right now, but that's due to something else. It's not, you know,
that's going to be such a cleanse, and that's so it's such a beautiful thing you're doing.
But it's a personal choice. I say I choose to be happy, and I choose to reflect
I think that's important too. You choose to be happy. I think
all it is about choice.
Yeah.
That you make that choice. You wake up in the morning. It's one of the affirmations. I choose to be divinely happy. I tell people. Choose to be divinely happy and watch what happens as you choose that. Most people, if they stay committed to their affirmations, and it's not work, it's devotion. Take the word work out of this. There's nothing. I don't feel like I work. You know what I mean? I devote a lot of time, a lot of energy to this. But I am a human being, so if I want to do this full time, I do have to make it my profession, my business, or, you know, well, how else would I be able to do it full time?
Exactly.
You know, the other means isn't that the way it is, you know? So it's okay, you know, you can't, that's how it works.
Again, everybody, we are joined by Beth Lynch. Thank you so much for coming in. We look forward to what exactly.
Fast.
Yeah, I know, didn't it? We look forward to seeing what your show is going to bring. It's going to be Inner Lately. and it starts next week, 7:30. Hopefully you guys will be able to tune in. It's going to happen directly after Lake to Lake Girls, so we're all going to be in cahoots with each other. And I can't wait to see what kind of people you bring. I'm so excited.
Oh, good. And also, like on Facebook, the Inner Lately page is up. So that's where they can actually, whatever way is going to be easier for them to send in questions. You want them to stay with your page or either one? You can do questions on Inner Lately, which is up on Facebook, like her, like us. It's Lake to Lake Girls. You can also call into our show next week. It's 315-712-0104, which we'll be saying that periodically throughout the program as well, so that everyone knows exactly what numbers to call so they can contact you. Because, I mean, it's not just about you talking and telling people. It's about actually communicating with people. So I think that's huge, is that you have that interaction with everyone. Awesome. So we will be back with that next week. Amanda, you did want to talk about your blog a little bit. It has a new look just before we close up the program tonight.
I did a little facelift on it. So if you want to bring it up. Yeah. I think it has a much sunnier. The other background layout I liked, but it was too. It just wasn't the right fit. So I still have a little more work to do on this one. But do you have it up?
Mm-mm.
Oh. Did we? I haven't posted in a little while. But,
since last week?
I don't know if we showed the last post either. But if you just bring it up, it has a new look. I mean, it still has all the same information as it did before. I just think it looks nicer now. So it's www.mandy-eats.com. So.
Okay. This is... Wow, there's things crawling everywhere.
Is it going crazy?
There's things crawling.
That shouldn't happen.
The name Bree's in the room.
Bree?
There's a Bree. Does the name Bree mean anything? Bree?
Here's mandy-eats.com. That's kind of cool.
Did it come up?
Life's an apple, take a bite.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's my motto.
I like that look.
Thank you.
It's very pretty. Also, not to mention, on next week's show, we also have Cassy Harrington.
That's right. I almost forgot.
In studio with us.
I love having her here. She's going to talk about Cash Mob, which
next Wednesday.
Yes, is next Wednesday. So watch us next Tuesday to get the latest scoop on where it's going to be. Yes. It's a secret right now. We can't tell you.
Location hint number 1, though, is any produce that is not sold on site is provided to the local food pantries. So, check back in next week to find out more about that. She's from the Seneca County Chamber, so she's going to be joining us from 6 until 7, and then we'll have Beth Lynch's show from 7:30 until 8:30, and I'm super excited about this. I can't wait to see what the show brings. So thank you again so much for joining us, and I hope that your show is just a huge
I think it's going to be a huge hit.
Thank you. Yeah. And I encourage people to send their questions over that night, and community stuff that wants to have a shout out and a pay it forward, gratitude towards something. Let's bring it all on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nice.
Sounds like you're already doing it, girls.
I'm really excited to see. I get to experience the whole thing. I mean, Amanda can...
I might stick around for that.
Me too.
Amanda gets to head home after, because she's got a long day at work too, but I think we all do.
Yeah.
But I get to experience the whole thing with you, and I can't wait to see what characters come in to play.
Yeah, we're going to have some
people.
And anyone who really has a story or something that they want to come on and be a guest, all they have to do is let us know, and I will talk to them, and hopefully it would be something that would really help our listeners, and that would, I would welcome them on to be a guest on my show as well.
Exactly. So. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We will see you guys next week. Same time, same place, 6 to 7:30. We are your hosts, Amanda and Tiffany. Everybody have a good night.
Bye, everyone.